I loved what you just shared here at NFT London, and I thought I must grab Outer Lumen and drag her over to a second media stage for you to kind of tell me a bit about your insights. So a lot of what you shared today has to do with passion and a passion project around data. You and I first connected on Zoom, right? Attached to NFT.NYC, and that was specific to a specific project, and you've been involved with many as you've kind of studied things. For those that may not know who you are and what you work on, please give me a little intro, even though I already know you.
Yes, so I'm Outer Lumen, and initially I started my crypto journey with the hash masks. So I've been on the hash masks team for a year now.
Yes.
And of course, as a collector in the space, I belong to a lot of many other communities whose collectors are fellow friends. And so, I mean, the ones that I put on my shirt are, you know, like MFR community has been huge. Mutant Cartel is having an event tonight, and that community has been amazing as well. And then of course there's like Pixavault, and like it's been such a wonderful journey to connect. But through being a collector, I've really been looking at NFT traits, and that has become an obsession of mine, and it started with the hash masks.
Okay, so you have half a dozen on your shirt right now.
Yes.
Can you tell me your favorite trait for each of your 6 that you have on there? Because I'd love to know what's your favorite trait and why is it your favorite trait that's on there?
I will tell you the one because I think it's probably the thing that launched all of this. So my hash mask, which you can name on chain, which is called Outer Lumen
and
after
it can be changed if somebody
else. It can be changed. They're dynamic name changes.
You have a hash mask. Let's say you have 10.
Yep.
And let's say you name all 10.
Yep.
And then I beg and I persuade, and you finally let me acquire one from you.
Yep.
For a lot of ETH. And then I can change the name.
Yes, you can.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, they come with name change tokens, and you accrue 10 a day, and that was planned until 2031.
I love that.
Yeah, and then you basically can change the name on chain. So this one I got, and the reason why it spoke to me is because it has blue eyes, which I do.
Yes.
And the bear is holding a book, and the book is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And I'm a curious person by nature, and so is Alice. And I mean, the whole Web3 journey is a rabbit hole.
Yes.
And to me, it's just such an all-encompassing NFT that kind of takes a little bit of elements of my persona, blue eyes, whatever, and then puts it into this whole thesis of holding this book.
I love that.
That is pretty much like opening the gates of the unknown and curiosity and possibilities and imagination. And so, and this was my first Ethereum NFT. Like I've had stuff on Polygon through a couple of artworks and through friends, but this was like the official, I guess, like a generative project NFT. Yeah.
So how did you be introduced to all things Web3? And when you were introduced, was this environment what you thought you were exploring?
That's a really good question. So initially, I have a friend who was mining Bitcoin.
Yes.
And so he was kind of the person that he's my best friend, and he's been leading the way in all things tech.
Right.
And so he was the one that mentioned the blockchain to me. And then my partner and I, we got in 2013.
Yeah.
And it was kind of comical because he went somewhere, deposited some money. We didn't know what was going to happen. He came home and he's like, "I think this worked."
That's funny.
And then we went from I think like $40 a Bitcoin to $450, and we thought, we're up!
Rich.
Like this is amazing. and then I got in more in 2017, and so did he. He got into like the whole DeFi thing, and of course, you know, from there, alongside that in 2017, I have a lot of friends in the art world that were actually using blockchain as a medium for art.
Yes.
So one of them spoke at a conference I was at. Her name is Sarah Friend, and so she's been working with blockchain art for a long time. And so she minted this project called Off Supply on the Polygon chain, which was actually my first introduction to. So she mentioned NFTs for a long time.
Yes.
And I mean, if I like listened and got involved then, I'm sure I would have like punks and CryptoKitties and whatever.
Right.
But it came in due time, I think, naturally from DeFi for my partner and then for me from the art world. And so we kind of like came together, and I think it was March 2021 when I was like fully in.
Started to pop at that time.
Yeah.
Yes. If somebody sees this, whether it's a week or a year from now, and they're still ready, like thinking of exploring digital assets, crypto collectibles, this world, what would be your suggestion for 101 information gathering? Where would you send people to first?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think It's almost like a merger of finding maybe folks that have really good Twitter threads and that kind of thing. But honestly, I would send them to Twitter Spaces,
Right.
because I feel that you get a sense of the community, and that's something you just don't get by reading publications or even reading like Reddit's here's how to. Like, you get an idea of the technology and you get an idea of utility, but you don't get an idea of the community or the people, because they're having real conversations. And another one would be probably either CryptoVoxels, would be the one I would choose today, to just browse through the city that was left over by people that built things, and you can walk through, and it's almost like, if you're a stranger in London walking at night, you're a stranger in a digital city walking at night, and you get lost.
It is amazing.
And I've met a person in a museum randomly, and we went through that museum and curated art together and talked about art. They were from the Netherlands.
It's amazing.
I was in Canada.
Wow.
We connected on DMs on Twitter, and we became friends, all because I happened to click a link while in CryptoVoxels, and they were looking at art in some virtual museum neither of us have made. Like, we just appeared there.
You got to enjoy it.
That kind of stuff, you just can't read about it. You kind of have to just show up.
You have to show up.
Yeah.
Last, before we wrap up, you brought your 11-year-old son.
I did.
So why did you bring your son? Are you glad you brought your son? Should other parents consider also bringing their young children to NFT.London, NFT.NYC, other complimentary events like this? Love your insights as a parent.
Oh, absolutely. So first of all, thank you guys for enabling that. That was the biggest thing that I thought, okay, if he's allowed to come, usually it's kind of an issue of like, well, if I was a solo parent, how would I do it?
Right.
I'm not a solo parent, but for this week I was going to be, and it's kind of like, okay, is this going to work? And when I wrote to you guys and you said, yes, he's welcome, here's his stuff. And it was
a very empathetic
It was
team.
So empowering, because I think like that's really the key word, is like you're empowering people to still be able to like rock it. I just gave a talk while my kid was here. He wasn't a blocker to me doing something in Web3. As far as other parents, I mean, our kid is kind of degen already, right? Because he has degen parents, degen. So it's one of these things where really strongly feel that if they're ready. So he is playing Roblox. He's already in that metaverse. He's already lost assets because it's centralized. He's very familiar with that kind of culture of ownership, right? And so I think like for him, he was talking to a video game exhibit, of course there's one. And they want him to be an alpha tester, because what a cool age group for them to have, and he's excited to be like the first of many. I think it's definitely eye-opening, but it has to be, I think, through the lens of the parents, right? Like you kind of have to, like he's sitting there in the previous event, he's like, well, what's mass adoption? Right. And then I said, well, kind of like Roblox is right now for you guys. Oh, okay, I get it. So just having those conversations, but yeah, I think if the parent is willing and it's a good kind of relationship and you know your kid and they're ready, absolutely. And he was so excited about it that he went and he picked out a crypto kitty, and I made him a shirt, and he's just like, that I can come, this is incredible.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for jumping in and letting me ask you a bunch of questions. And for all of you out there, hope you have a very happy day. I'll be back again with another conversation very soon.